Hey, what is up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a bit of a different Gran Turismo 7 video. Recently I was scrolling through the menus and brand central in Gran Turismo 7 and had a little bit of a light bulb moment. So I was checking out some of the stats on the Group 2 cars in game and I noticed a little bit of a sequence. We have the 2008 models and also the 2016 models of GT500 cars currently present in game. That is an 8-year gap, and well, 8 years on from 2016 would make it this year 2024, and there is some huge changes that have gone on in Super GT since the 2016 generation. So off went the little light bulb in my head. I thought, well, we've got a game made by a Japanese developer in the form of Polyphony, and the series Super GT sanctioned by JAF, or Japan Automobile Federation. Why not put together a wish list of cars I would love to see enter GT7 or Gran Turismo games of the future? And with the 2024 season getting underway at Okayama on the 13th of April of this year, it seems like a fantastic time to get this video out. But let's give you some history on Super GT. Super GT is essentially a series that has been running since 1993 all the way up until the present day. However, there has been a few changes, and you may notice that by when people mention either JGTC or Super GT. So the series started life in 1993 as the Zen Nihon GT Senshuken, or more commonly known as the All Japan Grand Touring Car Championship, which also then kind of gets known as the JGTC. Whilst these are the same championship that has continued over, they're kind of split into two areas. One known as the JGTC era, which ran from 1993 all the way until 2004, when the rebranding of Super GT came along, which provided a new era from 2005 until the present day. This championship would see the replacement of the now defunct All Japan Sports Prototype Championship for Group C machinery and the Japanese Touring Car Championship for Group A machinery. So with the history lesson out of the way and done with, today's video is only going to focus on 2005 until present day under the Super GT name, as I feel JGTC certainly needs its own entire video for just cars featured in that era. If you do want to learn more about this real world series and you want me to make separate videos just talking about JGTC and Super GT itself, let me know down below and I might do some IRL content talking about some of the weird and wacky cars to run in this series over time. So let's get into it. So to start off this wish list, we're going to start off with the 3 vehicles that gave me the inspiration for this list, starting off with the 2024 season and the GT500 class. This is going to be the 3 manufacturers to run there in the form of Honda, Nissan and Toyota. Again, we do have a new car entering for this season, which is the Honda Civic Type R GT GT500 for Honda, and then in terms of Nissan we have the Nissan Z and the Toyota Supra GT500. In terms of the Toyota Supra, we've seen this racing since 2020 in its GT500 form, replacing the rapidly aging Lexus by that point. In terms of the Nissan Z or Z, we've seen that racing since 2022 when it made its debut, and now we also have a newcomer in the form of the Honda Civic Type R GT GT500, which replaces the Honda NSX, which I always found that Honda had some various balancing issues when it came to that car, no matter which form it was in. Although it was successful, it is looking like the new Honda Civic will be even better. In my opinion, these are absolutely a must. With that 8-year gap, I would love to see the full 2024 GT500 grid lining up ready to race. Even if they just put the base models in, there seems to be no excuse for them not to pop these in the game. Next up, I'm going to have a couple of the more modern GT300 machines. Now, if you don't know what this is, obviously it's a step down from the GT500 machines. They come under all sorts of rules and regulations, so we'll see the likes of FIA GT3 machines, as well as JAF GT and something called a mother chassis, which allows all sorts of bizarre and wonderful cars to race in GT300. Now, pick number 1 for this one is the GT300 Supra. Now, we do already have a Group 3 Toyota Toyota Supra. However, there is a few differences in terms of the real world GT300 version and the one that we currently see in GT7. So pick number one is certainly going to go for that car. I absolutely love the look of it, as well as the sound of this thing is absolutely incredible. This is a must-have for GT7. Carrying on with the modern day GT300 machines, I've gone for the Lexus LC500H GT. Now this is very reminiscent of the VGT Lexus that we do see in game. However, this is a very quirky and strange car to see, and I feel it would absolutely fit the bill when it comes to GT300 machines in GT7. Not only that, it also again sounds absolutely fantastic, as well as really standing out on the track. Now it's time for mother chassis vehicles. The first of the picks is going to be the Toyota Mark X. Now in terms of mother chassis, the car that resembles on top of the chassis itself, yeah, you probably won't expect what these things actually sound like. They run an unbranded Nissan V8, essentially a cost-cutting measure, and whilst the grid has gone up to a peak and then reduced again to almost non-existent, there are some seriously cool cars in this mother chassis collection, and that's going to lead me on to perhaps the most famous of them all, the Toyota Prius. Yep, it wasn't hybrid and it was V8 powered, which is seriously cool. Have a listen to this. Next up, we're going to move from Toyota over to Honda for something once again just a little bit different that you wouldn't really find anywhere else. This is the Honda CR-Z Hybrid GT300 that ran for a good few seasons in obviously the GT300 class. I absolutely love these cars and I really can't pinpoint why. I just think they're great little sporty cars, even if they're what I'd class as a early hybrid sports car. Whilst they're not relevant anymore and they've completely been phased out, I believe, I just really enjoy the looks of these things. So it would be seriously cool, just along with the likes of the V8 Prius and such, to see the CR-Z in its GT300 form enter GT7. Next up, we're going to head back to the mother chassis, but this time with something non-Japanese. This is the Lotus Evora mother chassis. Now this one ran from 2015 up to 2021, and every time I used to catch a Super GT race, I always had my eye caught by these things. I think they are seriously cool. The huge wide body, the huge rear wing, and the relatively low look to the car looks absolutely superb. A genuinely great mother chassis vehicle. With more modern cars out the way and done with, let's go into some of the older vehicles. Now this one has featured in Gran Turismo game previously. It was in Gran Turismo 5 and Gran Turismo 6. This is the ASL Arta Garaya. Now I've probably absolutely butchered that, and it did come overall a P2 in terms of the GT300 category. This one would typically sit at the back of your race grid. It wasn't the fastest car in the world, but it is seriously a great looking and very cool car that we'd only typically see come out of Japan. Next up might just be my favourite GT300 machine of all time. Funnily enough, this ran from 2005 to 2010 under the Super GT banner. This is the Mazda RX-7 GT300, or the RE Anemia, with that beautiful wide body and perhaps one of the most striking liveries of all time. That bright yellow mixed with that kind of dark blue. Absolutely eye-catching and stunning as can be. And also that beautiful engine note. Now let's move back to GT500 machinery with the Nissan Fairlady Z. This one ran from 2005 to 2007 and has featured in previous Gran Turismo games. I feel like this one gets massively forgotten in the swarm of R33s, R34s, obviously then the GTR that came after it as well. I feel like the Fairlady Z just really doesn't get a fair shout, but certainly a worthy addition to the GT500 cars in the game. That's then going to move me quite swiftly onto my final GT500 car of the video, the Toyota Supra. During the Super GT era of cars, it ran in 2005 and 2006 before being kind of faded away. Obviously, it more famously featured in the JGTC era with the Tom's Castrol livery on it. However, as you can see, there's a few subtle differences between the ones that we see in game currently, which I believe is the 97 model, and obviously the more updated one that ran in 2005 and 2006. Certainly a worthy addition. Now this is going to finish off the more typical road going cars one. This is going to be another GT300, the Toyota MRS. Again, a car that we have seen previously in Gran Turismo's titles, mainly the JGTC model from I believe 2003. As you can see, this one features a bunch of Pixar themed racing liveries, which I think is awesome. I believe there was a Cars one as well as obviously the one you're seeing here, which is a Toy Story racing one. I think that looks absolutely amazing, and I may have to look into these cars a little bit further. But again, this one ran from 2005 to 2008 before being faded out, and that's going to lead me next into a completely different couple of cars. So the first of the next two cars is going to be the Mooncraft Sheeden. This again is one of the typical cars that you probably only ever see in the likes of Super GT, which I think is just absolutely fantastic. Again, a very weird and wonderful car. In terms of the car itself though, it did run in GT300 regulations, not GT500 or its own separate class, which I just think is absolutely awesome and shows just how diverse that GT300 class can be. And then the next one, again following the same lines as the Mooncraft Sheeden, that is going to be the Vermac RD320R. There was a bunch of these cars, around about 3 of them, all very similar in the style. Some were kind of running LMP engines from Mugen. There was another one that was originally designed for like GT500 regs. Again, a car that you would only ever really see running in that GT300 class, and I think it looks absolutely awesome. So there we have it, that is my Super GT car wish list for Gran Turismo 7 and beyond. Let me know if there's any I missed that you may want to see. Also, if you do want more of these videos, I'm happy to do one during the JGTC, and then other themed ones like maybe modern day Japanese cars, classic Japanese cars, American muscle cars, so on and so forth. I really enjoyed making this video, and hopefully something a little bit different for you guys. Again, if you do want to see some IRL content on maybe the Super GT, JGTC history and such like that, then do let me know, because I am very interested in getting into those videos. It's a racing series I've watched for many years, and whilst the majority of the time it is in Japanese and sometimes it can be difficult to track what's going on, you do get the general gist of it, and it is a fantastic series to watch. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Take care guys. Peace.